All right, let's talk about AI. If you're the one managing an AI budget, you know the pressure is absolutely immense. But what if the key to success isn't just about spending more money? What if it's about structuring your investments in a totally different way? We're going to break down a framework for architecting AI to deliver real, actual, measurable value. So, does this feel familiar to you? The budgets for AI just keep getting bigger, the vendors are calling you nonstop, but when you look for the clarity, the results, they just aren't there. Well, you're not alone. This is a huge frustration for organizations everywhere right now. And this right here is the uncomfortable truth that's happening behind the scenes. So many companies are trying to build three different things all at once: perfect data, capable platforms, and scalable use cases. It's a massive, massive challenge. And it's exactly why so many AI projects just kind of fizzle out after the pilot. So here's the crucial point. The single biggest mistake we see is lumping all of your AI efforts under one giant generic budget line called AI. You know, the companies that are really getting this right have figured out that you can't treat a simple chatbot project the same way you treat a moonshot that could reinvent your entire business. They're completely different animals. And that brings us to a really powerful way to cut through all this confusion. The solution is to classify every single AI initiative you have into one of three distinct postures. Seriously, this one little act of classification, it changes everything. Now, what's so great about this is how it gives you immediate focus. So ask yourself, are you in a defend posture, just trying to keep up with the competition by adding a copilot to your CRM? Or are you in an extend posture where you're trying to optimize a specific workflow with a custom agent? Or are you swinging for the fences in an upend posture, building something that could fundamentally change your entire market? And here is why this matters so much. Your posture, whether it's defend, extend, or upend, should drive your entire strategy. It tells you what level of governance you need, what kind of vendor to hire, the type of contract you should write, and how you're even going to measure success. When you mix these up, that's how you end up overspending on simple tools, or worse, undergoverning a huge risky bet. Okay, so let's see how this posture framework actually works in the real world, and let's start with your contracts. Because if you're paying for AI services, the old model is officially broken. It is time to stop buying time and start buying results. This illustrates the shift perfectly. I mean, in the old model, if your vendor uses AI to code 50% faster, you still pay them by the hour, and they get to pocket all those savings. But in the new model, you're using things like value-based pricing and shared risk models. You're not paying for activity anymore. You are paying for actual business outcomes. And to do that, you need some new KPIs for these new digital employees. For instance, an agent efficiency index that measures how well the AI does a task compared to a human. The autonomy utilization ratio tracks how often it can work without a person needing to step in. And of course, decision accuracy. How often does it get the right answer? These are the exact kinds of metrics that need to be written directly into your contracts. Now, getting your contracts right is absolutely critical, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. This way of thinking has to scale up to your entire operating model. This isn't just about technology. It's about how your whole organization structures itself to manage the unique risks that come with AI while still giving the business the freedom to innovate. And let's be real, the risk landscape is complex. You've got behavioral risks like bias, security risks like data leaking out, transparency issues like not being able to explain a decision, and even operational risks like becoming too dependent on just a few key people. They're all connected, and you've got to have a plan for all of them. So here are 5 mandates to really internalize. You need a solid governance framework, you need clear accountability, and you need real human oversight, especially for those high-risk decisions. And this part is crucial. It has to be done by cross-functional teams, not just IT. Plus, your vendors have to be on the hook for transferring their knowledge and training your people. This all leads to a fundamental shift in accountability. The old way, where centralized IT does everything, just becomes a bottleneck. The new model is federated. So shared services provide the platform and the guardrails, but the business units themselves build their own solutions. And here's the kicker. If you build it, you also pay for it, and you own the technical debt that comes with it. So, how do we pull this all together into a plan you can actually use? Let's distill everything we've talked about into one final, simple framework for capturing that real AI dividend in your organization. Here it is, your 3-point plan. Number 1. Source for value by classifying every single project. Stop buying AI as a generic thing. 2. Govern for safety. You do this by making those cross-functional teams mandatory and putting your risk framework into practice. And 3, capture the dividend. Shift your contracts to focus on outcomes and demand those new AI-specific KPIs. And look, the stakes could not be higher. We're looking at a market that's projected to be over $1 trillion by 2029. The money is flowing, for sure. But the real question is whether it's flowing toward real outcomes or just activity. Getting this architecture right is what's going to make all the difference. Which leaves us with one final question for you to really think about. Is your organization simply adopting AI tools as they come along? Or are you deliberately architecting a whole new relationship between technology, your business, and your partners to create real sustainable value? Because that choice is what will define the winners and losers of the next decade.